All right. With that, the People's State of the State is open. I just want to say a few words because this event has been made possible by each and every single one of you who have gotten on the phone, who have called their friend, who have called another friend to where we have this right now. And we can say unequivocally, because we organized together, that the governor had to stop us from organizing and speaking our truth in the rotunda. We did that. We did that. So, but nonetheless, because all of us know, living paycheck to paycheck, out on the street, that we get knocked down. But you know what we do? We get back up. We get back up.
And we fight.
Today, we have a group of incredible speakers for the first hour. Following 7 o'clock, people are free to come up and tell their story and tell the hardship and the things that you want the state of Rhode Island to do. With that being said, Reverend, please lead us in prayer.
Let us pray. Divine Creator, we come to you today with heavy hearts as we are remembering your beloved children who have lived and died without the comfort of a home. Today, we especially pray for the loss of a homeless advocate, Diamond, known and loved by many, a woman who previously experienced homelessness herself and dedicated her life to bringing awareness and change for the homeless in our communities. Let us join together in a responsive call to action to honor the unhoused souls that have been lost, and as it is our collective responsibility to care for all unhoused brothers and sisters. Let us pray to our divine Creator as we say, whenever you did it for any of my brothers and sisters, please respond with, you did it for me. Those who are homeless can be seen in doorways, in bus stations, in parks, and on the roadside. They can be found in abandoned buildings, in shelters, and in parked cars. In the hustle bustle of our lives as we walk by them, for they are invisible to us. Divine Creator, help us to slow down our fast-paced lives and give us the strength to open our eyes to those who are homeless. Whenever you did it for any of my brothers and sisters, you did it for me. There are men, women, and children who, due to unfortunate circumstances, are left without a place to live or food to nourish them. Divine Creator, you call us to give aid to the homeless. When you did it for any of my brothers and sisters, you did it for me. The homeless have stories to tell which are rich in both joy and sadness. They seem voiceless because we are too involved in our own lives to take the time to listen to them. Divine Creator, help us to find the courage to stop and listen to the stories of your people. Whenever you did this for any of my brothers and sisters, you did this for me. Often the homeless are lonesome, with very few people willing to care for them or provide them with the warmth they deserve. Divine Creator, help us to open our hearts to accept your people whom society has abandoned. Whenever you did this for any of my brothers and sisters, you did it for me. The homeless are your children. They are similar to us. They have hopes, dreams, desires, and aspirations. Divine Creator, help us to open our minds so that we may recognize all of us as your people. Whenever you did this for any of my brothers and sisters, you did this for me. They frighten us because we do not know their stories. they frighten us because deep down inside, we know we can easily become one of them. Divine Creator, forgive us for our fears and help us to remember that your light shines through them just as brightly as it shines through any of your children. Whenever you did this for any of my brothers and sisters, you did this for me. Our governments and leaders often focus on symptoms without addressing the causes of homelessness. We pray for all in authority, the planners, the builders, and the landlords. May you inspire them with a creative vision of the Spirit to build communities that honor your love and concern for all your children. Whenever you did this for any of my brothers, you did it for me. Divine Creator, may these words today of the Senior High Youth of Newman Congregational Church stir all our hearts to take action, to inspire all of us and our elected officials and Governor McKee to work together for a world where everyone is afforded dignity, safety, and a place to call home. Amen.
Hi, my name is Phyllis Stafford, and I was asked to come and give my story. I've been homeless for 8 years, and I got homeless because I worked for the American Red Cross and I went to Hurricane Harvey. And when I came back, the landlord thought I had abandoned my property, so he filed an eviction on me. Even though it was dismissed 6 times from 6 different judges, it's still on my record, and I cannot get it off, and I am unable to get senior housing or any other type of Section 8 housing because that word eviction is on my record, even though it's been dismissed. And it has been an absolute horror show. I currently reside at the Emmanuel House, which is a pretty decent shelter. I'm grateful for that. But there are so many people that are sleeping on the streets that have nowhere to go. And the governor will not sign that emergency declaration. So I was asked today to come and give my story, and that pretty much tells you what you need to know. I'm also a parishioner of Matheson Street Church, which does the most help in the state of Rhode Island. They're awesome. If you ever get a chance, please come down and see the kind of work that we're doing. It really is groundbreaking. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Sue Kelly. I am one of the invisible old people in Rhode Island. You know, the lonely, sad people in Rhode Island. The elderly may not play a large part in your thinking about Rhode Island's financial problems. But let's think again. 40% of all Rhode Islanders, workers, are 50 and older. 31% of Rhode Islanders are 55 and older, and by 2030, 25% of all Rhode Islanders will be over 65. Most of us, many of us, if we are lucky, are living on the fixed income of Social Security, sometimes with little more, often with little more. We took care of you and your children. We are retired teachers, aides, nurses, grocery store clerks, and others who never made a lot of money to begin with. But we are better off than those who follow us will be. We have had the apparent luxury of full Social Security benefits, at least until January 20th, 2025. Despite the help of Social Security and Medicare, I refilled a prescription yesterday that had previously cost me $5 with Medicare. Yesterday it was $8.95. Not quite double, but close. My co-pays a few months ago were $20. Now they're $40. The cost of groceries, don't even mention it, and what will happen when those tariffs go through. While these increases may seem minor to those who are still working, let me assure you that on a fixed income, they are not. Every single rise in a price makes me anxious because I am that much closer to losing the relative security of having a roof over my head. If you think homelessness in Rhode Island is bad now, just wait until the new administration cuts Social Security by 40% and does heaven knows what to Medicare and Medicaid. Right now, my Social Security is just over $2,000 a month. It will suddenly become $1,200 a month. My mortgage is $1,300 a month. You can see the problem. Imagine if I were trying to rent an apartment in Providence. Don't they start at $2,000 or $3,000?
Yeah.
Can't do it. When Social Security is cut and then probably eliminated, homelessness in Rhode Island will explode, intensifying our present crisis situation. As for so many, economic insecurity is the central anxiety for those who live long enough. Societally, the homeless, the hungry, the poor, the disabled, the sick, the different, and the elderly remain invisible until they end up on someone's carefully manicured lawn. Then we criminalize them. A moral society, a thriving society, would make the well-being of its citizens a priority, which is what we want the state of Rhode Island to do. And now. Yes! All of us have contributed to this state and to the country by providing necessary and beneficial work. All of us deserve to live with dignity, with help, with security, so that the state and country can thrive. It is time for our legislature to see the coming problems clearly and to address them right now, not next session, not next year, or in the more usual never, now. Tax the top brackets now. Thank you.
Fight, fight, fight! Housing is a right! 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 Fight, fight, fight! Housing is a right!
Hi, Don King. I'm here to represent not only myself, but all the other homeless, food short, money short, and marginalized, primarily by our local and state government. Governor McGee has done nothing but rebuke, argue, and come up with no solutions. He's put down every suggestion made to him. He has done nothing to promote any of the good already being done. In fact, he's done harm to some of the great projects. Right now, I know of about 30 plus families which are being ripped apart because of lack of affordable housing. Mothers and fathers are losing the right to their children because of a lack of affordable housing, leading to homelessness. DCYF will not give children back to their parents unless they have a secure home. Understood, absolutely understood. How do we get affordable housing? We're 24,000 units plus short in the state of Rhode Island of affordable housing. We're second in the country in our per capita rate of homelessness. Second in the country. Does that speak well for Governor McKee?
Not right.
It's not right. We've had the pallet shelter village ready, being held up by bureaucratic red tape, which he refuses to budge on. He refuses to declare a state of emergency, would give him the override to get this open. There are undercounted over 500 people sleeping outside right now. That's not the people in the shelters. We've got close to 3,000 people. Now the figures, 2,500 and 500, those were from the beginning of 2024.
Shame.
Where are we now? And what has he done? I mean, we're not here to talk about Mayor Smiley, but we certainly could be. The only municipality to not apply for any federal aid to attack the crisis of homelessness in the state of Rhode Island. The only municipality. Governor McKee has consistently argued that it is not a state of emergency. If it's not, what is? 3 weeks ago, 3 people died in 1 week. Crawling into the back of a U-Haul. Dying because she wasn't supposed to be out of the house, let alone volunteering for all of us. Every single day she was there. People are dying. Isn't that state of emergency enough? Next Tuesday, there are 25 other state officials who agree with us that this is a state of emergency. It will giving him the overriding power. He doesn't even want it, because then he would actually have to do something. Now, not in my backyard. Only applies to him. He's the only one that doesn't care. He's the only one that avoids the subject. And he is the only one that consistently refutes any solutions. He's not come up with any solutions himself. And he has not given any alternatives. Leading us here to just sit outside the room at his request, because he doesn't want to hear what we have to say. He doesn't want to see our faces. And he doesn't have to want to look into the eyes of people that need help. Well, Governor McKee, we're here.
We are.
If we don't need help ourselves, we're here to represent people that do. I'd like to take a moment to read quickly a letter a young woman sent to me. Okay? My name is Angelica Stewart, and I stood before this committee last year to share a part of my story, how I became homeless and why I am still without a place to call home. Today I come before you not just as a statistic, but as a mother fighting for the very foundation of her family. For over a year and 8 months, I have lived without a home. Every 3 months, I stand in the court to update my circumstances that seem to spiral further out of reach. Most recently, Child Protective Services sought to take my son from me, citing my inability to secure stable housing. My son is in foster care, and during every visit, he looks into my eyes and asks, "Mommy, when am I coming home?" I have no answer. I have no words to explain why the system that was supposed to help us is instead keeping us apart. How do you tell a child that a roof over their head has become a privilege, not a right? How do you explain that love and determination are not enough to overcome policies that place affordability over humanity? The housing crisis is not just an enormous economic issue. It is a moral one. It does not merely displace individuals. It disseminates families. No mother should lose their child because of lack of a housing. No child should be embraced because of a system that fails to see their humanity. Please do not allow another child to grow up wondering why they can't go home. Do not allow another mother to feel the ache of separation caused by circumstances beyond her control. Address this crisis, not just with policies, but with compassion. That rips to my heartstrings.
We're gonna do a chant. 1, we are the people. 2, one, we are the people. 2,
A little bit louder.
a little bit louder.
3,
we want.
justice for our
Now.
Now.
Okay, yeah.
We are the people too. A little bit louder. 3, we want justice now. 1, we are the people too. A little bit louder. 3, we want justice now. 1, we are the people too. A little bit louder. 3, we want justice now.
We are the people! 2, a little bit louder. 3,
We want justice
now!
Good evening. My name is Yosan, and I'm a proud organizer with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. We should be clear that the crises facing our state today are solvable, and our politicians, landlords, and the business elite are neglecting these problems because they profit from the system that creates them.
That's right.
Let's take the homelessness crisis. Rhode Island's homelessness rate is the 6th largest in the country and is only worsening. Do we think that's just a sad accident? No! There are criminals who are responsible for this crisis, and let's name them. Brett Smiley, Dan McKee, Sheldon Whitehouse, Jack Reed. But we know it's not only them. The entire system is criminal and unjust. In 2020, COVID caused millions of people to lose their jobs all at once. This snowballed into a nationwide eviction crisis because people could simply not afford their rent. Companies used the pandemic to gouge prices and pocket record profits, but did those who staffed their stores and packed their products make any more money in their paychecks? No. They scraped these profits off of the backs of working class people. At the same time, the wealthy began fleeing the big cities, such as New York, and many began buying homes in Rhode Island. In the first 7 months of the pandemic, the prices of homes in our state shot up by 15%, making it so working class people couldn't afford to buy homes. Our state had millions of dollars in relief for COVID, relief that was supposed to be used for rent, for homes, for childcare, for healthcare, for our social services. But did they use these funds? No. They failed to disperse them for months on end and allowed hundreds, if not thousands, of people to face eviction. Instead, they allowed landlords to seize on the housing market, raise rents, and force poor tenants out. Our government hasn't done anything because they don't represent working class people. They represent the billionaires and landlords who have price gouged us out of our homes. Just consider Mayor Brett Smiley's husband, Jim DeRentis. He's one of the biggest real estate agents in the state. This crisis is manufactured. There are homes sitting empty, huge closed public schools that could be quickly turned into shelters. But giving people shelter would undermine the housing market and the need to raise the prices higher. The system that puts people over profit and treats housing as something to be bought and sold is fundamentally unjust. The people say housing is a human right. The people say that our resources and our tax dollars should be used to house our people.
Yes.
We should be freezing prices and rents, not people.
Yes.
We should be raising wages, not building luxury condos.
Yes.
We should be providing food, jobs, housing, healthcare, and education for all. These are our simple demands, and yet they will never meet them because the system does not want to meet them. And this is why we will be marching on January 20th, Inauguration Day, because we know that it doesn't matter if it's Biden or Trump. What matters is what happens to our people on the ground. And we know that our people are starving and are homeless and are facing precarity every single day. So join us on January 20th at Classical High School as we demand a better future and as we fight for the future that we believe we know we will have. Yes. I have one chant for us to do. Dare to struggle, dare to fight. Housing is a human right. Dare to struggle, dare to fight. Housing is a human right. Dare to struggle, dare to fight. Housing is a human right.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Ellie Wyatt, and I am here with the Wiley Center.
Hold on. Clap once if you hear me. Clap twice if you hear me. Thank you.
Okay. So, for someone with a serious illness, having their utilities shut off, and who are struggling to pay the rent, buy groceries, having their utilities shut off is a major catastrophe. They can lose their home, they can end up out on the street, they can end up in the hospital, or they can end up freezing to death in their home. I am here tonight, not for the first time, and I might add, asking our legislators to pass the Serious Illness Protection Plan, and finally the implementation of the Percentage Income Payment Plan, which is also known as PIP. I don't know if everybody knows what that is, but it allows for a percentage of a person's income to be charged for their utilities rather than having a regular utility bill. Both these programs have been presented to the legislature by the George Wiley Center. Both these programs have been held up by this body for far too long. And this, at this time of a homeless crisis, keeping people in their homes needs to be a top priority of this legislature this year. For people who are struggling to pay their utilities and their rent, and who are seriously ill, and are witnessing true disaster of homelessness and utility shutoffs, because our utilities have exploded along with our rents. I'm sure everybody has seen how utilities have exploded. So our utilities and our rents have been exploding, and this is causing increased homelessness. So I am here tonight to ask everybody to talk to their legislatures and get the Serious Illness Protection Plan and PIP passed in this year.
Can everybody hear me okay? All right. So obviously, not everybody can yell as loud as me, which is not an accomplishment. But how are we feeling? Do we want to chant? Do we need to move around more? How are we feeling? Are we ready to hear more speakers?
Change.
Change? We want to change? We want to listen to more speakers? Yeah? What's that?
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Mónica. Yo llegué al país en el 2015 con mis hijos porque huí de la violencia que sufrí en Colombia.
My name is Monica Aguirre, and I arrived to the country in 2015 with my children because I was fleeing danger in Colombia.
Y el resto de mi familia, mi hermana llegó en el 2023.
The rest of my family arrived in 2023.
Dos de mis familiares fueron deportados desafortunadamente.
Two of my family members unfortunately were deported.
He pasado por muchos traumas y situaciones difíciles.
I've gone through different traumas and difficult situations.
Yo he sido desalojada de mi hogar y ha sido muy difícil.
I have been evicted from my house before and it's been very difficult.
Estoy aquí para pedir servicios de gas y luz más económicos bajo el programa de PIPP.
I am also here to encourage everybody to support a PIP program that would make gas and electric more affordable, proposed by the George Wiley Center.
Y alentar a que implementen la protección por condiciones médicas.
I want to encourage everybody to support the strengthening of the Serious Illness Program
para personas médicamente vulnerables.
for people who are medically vulnerable.
Yo sufro de depresión, diabetes, sobreviviente de cáncer y problemas de retención de memoria.
I'm a cancer survivor. I suffer from depression, diabetes, and I've had mental health situations.
He estado hospitalizada en Rhode Island Hospital.
I've been hospitalized at Rhode Island Hospital.
Es muy difícil para mí pagar gas y luz. Necesitamos protecciones más fuertes en Rhode Island.
As a low-income person, it is very difficult to afford gas and electricity. We need stronger protections for Rhode Island.
Mis hijas y sobrinos mis sobrinos también tienen problemas de salud mental, de depresión.
My kids, my nephews also have mental health situations and struggle with depression.
No es justo tener que renovar una protección cada 21 días.
It is not fair to renew a protection every 21 days.
Por favor, implementen una protección más fuerte y servicios más económicos bajo un PIPP. Gracias.
Please, I ask that a stronger serious illness protection be implemented and a percentage of income payment plan as well. Thank you.
Real loud.
My name is Casa. Hi. And I live in the city of Providence. I'm here to ask you for a stronger serious illness protection program. And I ask that a percentage of income payment plan be implemented, known as PIPP. Both programs proposed by the George Wiley Center. Under a percentage of income payment plan, people pay a fixed percentage of their income for utility bills. Having affordable utilities in Rhode Island is important to me because when I lose my utility, when you can become homeless. Right now, I'm living in a van because I cannot afford to pay rent and utilities. When I was about losing my utilities, when I had an apartment, I was very hopeful. I was hopeless. Sorry, I was hopeless and uncomfortable. I wish no one would go through the same. When I had them, I had a good life. I would continue to have a better life if PIPP was in operation. And I'm being protected against termination of services as a medically vulnerable person is also important because I agree with strengthening the serious illness program because people that are ill need to be refrigerated their medicines, heat their foods for proper diet, extra and extra. Thank you.
My name is Matthew Stevens. I work for Reclaim as a tenant leader, and I am angry, and I hope you all are too. I am a father of 2 children, 10 months old and 4 years old, and right now it is worse than I've ever seen this. I am struggling to start to find health care for my children. I can't get into the dentist for my 4-year-old for 6 to 7 months because of the state of the healthcare system right now. So I want to start off by stating that 54 deaths due to this homelessness crisis and cold is too many. We shouldn't have one death. It started in 06 when there's tax cuts at these top tiers started. You do the math on that over 19 years, we would have saved in revenue $1 billion that could have been put to use for programming for the homelessness, for our children, for our families. And in the meanwhile, we're struggling to make a living while the rich survive. These landlords make their living by these tax cuts, and they benefit where we suffer. I have a friend who has run a daycare out of her home for years, very successfully. Loved her job. Our daughter went there from the day she could be in daycare. This woman had to close because someone came from out of state, bought up the building, raised her rent $1,000 over 3 months at 55% raising of rent. We want to see just eviction not happening. There should be no evictions for anybody unless there's a good reason. Sure, you don't pay your rent, that's a good reason to get evicted. You should pay your rent. You shouldn't damage your landlord's apartment. But landlords should not be allowed to come in and just kick people out for no reason. People that pay their rent, people with families that work a living. I have a family, I work, my fiance works. We are looking for an apartment right now, living with family in a small room. We can't find apartments because the rent is too high. Landlords have free reign to raise the rent to whatever they want. We should set limits on what those rents should be. We should be allowed fair housing. And in the meantime, people try to turn this blind eye in the Senate and wherever they want that there's no emergency. How many deaths is it going to take before they realize that there's a problem outside of our front doors, our back doors? There's people sleeping in this cold, and I struggle to walk to my car without hurting. And there's people sleeping with nothing, and it's not an emergency. I say one death is too many. How many should it be? It should be no more. No more deaths.
Hello, everyone. My name is Terry Wright. I'm with Rhode Island's Poor People's Campaign, and I also volunteer for RIAP. And I just want to echo that 54 deaths is one too many. There's no reason why Echo Village shouldn't be up and running. So we were in a meeting, myself, with RIHAP and some other close to the problem, formerly homeless. We were in a meeting with Rhode Island Housing and Deborah Goddard, Governor McKee's housing secretary, who says, quote, that she isn't going to create any policy in a panic. And I'm saying, in a panic? We're trying to save lives. What do you think is happening to the folks that are forced to live outdoors? We're not trying to get you to do anything but get the governor to declare a state of emergency.
Yes.
That's it. See, so that rubbed me the wrong way because she should have her heart on this issue and not creating policy in a panic. I'm not in a panic. We are here to advocate for folks so that they can get the housing that they need, get the shelter that they need, which is 365 days a year, not just during winter months. And I didn't come here with a speech today. I am livid.
Yes.
This really makes no sense. What is Rhode Island doing?
Nothing.
I was born and raised here, and this is not the same Rhode Island. We lift from the bottom up. People need help. And that's what the folks in this building should be doing. Policy should have been created. And what happened to the Homeless Bill of Rights? What rights? What rights are being followed? You can't sleep in a tent. where do you go? To the next block? That's something that keeps happening. Encampment raids, and what happens is you have to pick up your bed and walk. That's everything you own if you get it out there in enough time. And if the Providence police aren't ticked off that you may have an attitude or you may be standing there advocating for yourself, that's not an attitude. People are trying to survive. Our unhoused community is trying to survive. But how do you survive living outdoors? Just think, if it were 500 babies, where would they be? Why do we pick and choose who we're going to save? Every life counts.
That's right. Every life counts. 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 Every life counts.
I'm just speechless. I don't know what else to say except house the unsheltered now. Thank you.
Good afternoon, guys. My English not doing better. My English not doing better. I have a big problem. For rent housing, that's problem. I'm paying my bill, that's problem. I'm buying food, that's problem. I have to complicate my home. That's a big problem. Now I don't know what can I do. I have a problem with my hand. I'm going to work, but now no go to work. Employment is helping me a little bit, not too much. I'm rent 1,600. Employment you give me 1,200. That's not pay the bill. Not pay my bill, not pay my rent. That's problem for me. My wife, you have problem. You have problem replacement hip, 2 hip. You have 1 kidney. You have a cancer. No go anyway now. You have big problem. That's it. Thank you, guys.
What do we want? Housing. When do we want it?
Now! What do we want? Housing!
When do we want it?
Now! What do we want? Housing! When do we want it? Now!
When do we want?
Housing! When do we want it? Now!
Buenas tardes a todos, mi nombre es David Paz, soy de la ciudad de Central Falls. Quiero pedir que se implemente el plan de pago porcentual basado en ingresos PIB, por sus siglas en inglés, y también que se implemente una protección más fuerte para que las personas con condiciones médicas, SIP, por sus siglas en inglés, ambos proyectos sean de ley, son propuestos por el George Wiley Center.
Good afternoon, my name is David Paz. I'm from the city of Central Falls, and I want to ask for a percentage of income payment plan and also a stronger serious illness protection for the medically vulnerable to be implemented. Both projects, both legislations proposed by the George Wiley Center.
Pagar por altos costos de gas y luz no es nada fácil. Hace 2 años más o menos me tocó recorrer 10 millas en bicicleta de ida y vuelta a mi trabajo, durante el invierno y durante el verano, de ida y vuelta. Era duro porque no podría llegar a casa y en invierno estar caliente y en verano estar fresco.
Paying for high cost of gas and electric is not easy. 2 years ago, approximately, I had to travel approximately 10 miles back and forth to my job on a bike in the middle of the snow. To barely be able to afford rent, the basic necessities, and I could not go home and sometimes be warm because I couldn't turn my heat on.
Nunca me quedé sin comer, pero estuve cerca. Siempre he trabajado muy duro, pero cuando los salarios son muy bajos y las tarifas de necesidades básicas muy altas, como el caso de gas y la luz, es muy difícil salir adelante.
I didn't ever go without food, but I was very close to that. I've always been a hard worker, but when the wages are too low and the costs of living is too high, like the gas and electric, for example, it is very hard to get through.
A la fecha tengo que hacer trabajo de tiempo y medio para poder salir adelante. Todavía lo puedo hacer puesto que soy joven, pero me pregunto, ¿cuánto más batallarán las personas mayores de edad, los de condiciones médicas, deshabilidades y otras situaciones vulnerables?
Up to this day, I have to work time and a half to be able to get by. I can still do it because I am a young person, but I wonder how much more do the seniors struggle, the people with medical conditions, people with disabilities, and other vulnerable situations. I wonder how much more they struggle as well.
No estamos pidiendo que nos regalen el servicio, estamos pidiendo tarifas proporcionales y equitativas de acuerdo a lo que ganamos.
We're not begging for something free. We're demanding affordable utilities and equitable according to what we make in our wages.
Por estas razones pedimos que aprueben PIB como en otros estados de Nueva Inglaterra, como Ohio, Pensilvania, New Jersey, donde ya están funcionando un PIB. También pido una extensión del programa de protección de condiciones médicas.
For these reasons, we ask that a PIP be implemented like in other states where it's already working, like in New England. For example, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, a PIP is already working there. We also want to ask for an extension of the Serious Illness Protection Program. Thank you.
La gente necesita, one moment, la gente necesita más programas como estos y no necesita una estatua en la cima de la casa del estado de $2 millones.
People need more programs for the low income like this, PIP and serious illness. We do not need more fancy stuff like the statue at the top of the State House that was worth.
Thank you.
El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido.
So, can people hear me? I have a pretty loud voice. So, I've been homeless. I'm a former homeless person, and I've been an advocate for the homeless, I don't know, many years. 23 years ago, there were 32 of us that were unhoused. They closed the major shelter, Welcome Arnold. 20 of us came and lived on the State House lawn for 3 months, okay? Lincoln Rahman refused to talk to us. But in the end, we won him over. And it was much different during the State of the State. He invited us to come up, I don't know if it was the State of the State or the opening day, to come up into the General Assembly. He wasn't afraid of us 20 homeless people. We came up and they clapped for us for our giving awareness and advocacy. What is wrong with Governor McKee? We are not here to hurt anybody. We just want to be heard our voices. Why aren't we being invited into the state address? And so that's the history of it. And the history of it is that we have been there before, and there's no need to be afraid of us. We've been criminalized now. Homeless people are criminals. No matter what, we're seen as drug addicts. We're seen as alcoholics. There are people with there are people with issues, and I'm not going to say that there aren't. But people need housing no matter what. And if you look at healthcare and the social determinants of health, housing is healthcare. Housing means that you can get treatment for your diabetes, you can get treatment for your heart failure, you can get treatment for all your ills. And without housing, you're languishing in a shelter. I mean, I'm sitting across from a person at Matheson Street who had a stroke 2 years ago, and he has problems with his left side. He can't get a bed anywhere in the state. Nobody can find him a bed. The only bed that's available to him is a top bunk at Harrington Hall, and he can't climb up and get it. It's a travesty. He has to sit up all night at a warming center. His legs are starting to swell. And my God, it's people like that that are disabled or who have issues that we are here as government to protect the most vulnerable. And if they can't do it, we have to take the power back. A lot of us have given our power away, but we need to take the power back and say, enough is enough. We need to put more pressure on them and do whatever we need to do to make them hear our voice. And I'm a nonviolent person, so I don't believe in violence, but nonviolently, I think we can persuade them to come to our connection, hopefully. I'm hopeful that the people in Rhode Island are very compassionate people, most of them. I mean, here we have a whole group of people that are very compassionate. And I think if they knew what was going on, they would be with us. I truly do. I think there are a lot of compassionate people here. And there are a lot of working poor people here, too. So I think they're with us, and we have to remember that when we're looking. So I don't know if you guys know that song. I don't know. Does somebody want to sing This Little Light of Mine? We always usually sing that. Is anybody into that or no? Yes. Okay. I'm not a singer. Is anybody that can sing? This Little Light of Mine? Yeah. You want to sing? I'll help you. Good. Sing. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let them hear us. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All around the state, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the state, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the state, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Woo!
Hi everyone! Loud enough? My name is Lisa Peterson. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at VICTA. We're a behavioral health provider here in Providence. And I wanted to comment on the overlap and really the inability to separate the overdose drug poisoning crisis from the housing crisis. We have these catchphrases. We've got everybody's eyes on this drug poisoning crisis, and they're throwing money, thankfully, at things like harm reduction centers. Woo! But what they're not recognizing is that I can't do my job. My providers can't save lives when they leave our offices and go sleep on the streets. If it's not the cold that gets them, it's gonna be the poison drug supply or the addiction to alcohol that people rely on to live out there. We have to link these two things together. We have to call people out on their inability to focus on the bigger picture that is driving the drug poisoning crisis and the substance use crisis. Rhode Island has always led the way in alcohol and other drug use problems, and it's just gotten worse for all of the reasons that people have articulated here. And I want to really point out that we finally started talking about the drug poisoning crisis when it affected nice white ladies from the suburbs like me. And we can't afford to wait for this crisis to get to Lincoln. We have to take action now. We have to demand the emergency response to the emergency that this state has created for our community members. A budget is a value statement, and we're about to find out what the governor, what our legislators actually value for our state.
I'm Jonathan Daly LaBelle. I'm a peace and anti-war organizer and activist. I'm also a recent candidate for state rep, ran last year. First of all, I just want to say thank you to all the organizations, all the activists, all the citizens, everybody who makes up the community who has been working on these issues. And this has been hardcore. There's been hardcore work done for the last number of years. I know for decades for some people, but the last few years really has raised these issues up, and that should not be minimized. The reason that efforts like this are happening tonight and why there's more legislators signing on to this critical effort is because of all the hard work of all the organizations, activists, and community members. So I just got off of work at 3 o'clock. I live down in Westerly. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make it up here because I actually had car trouble. Just by good fortune, some luck, etc., I was able to make it here. But I also, being a little bit older, I'm still struggling in some ways, but I do have a little bit of a cushion that was part of the resource that allowed me to get up here this evening. And so many people do not have those resources whatsoever. And too many of our elected officials, whether it's state officials, federal officials, are not mindful and do not prioritize that. So even in Westerly, you go to different parts of the state, homelessness in the urban core is a critical issue, obviously. But even in South County, where there's a lot of affluence and definitely a lot of privilege, there's also a lot of need. There's a lot of struggle. Westerly homeless population is in the dozens, I believe. And then when you're right downtown in the core, then you're into Pawcatuck. There's more homelessness, and so many people are struggling with housing costs in South County, really across the whole entire state. So it's not just a Providence issue, it's not just Pawtucket, it's not just the urban core. So with my peace in anti-war work, I try to lift up, trying to meet the needs of the people. We see, Rhode Island supposedly is blue, Rhode Island is supposedly Democratic. Well, that doesn't matter. There's too many of our officials, federal officials, our congressional members would rather fund machines and people that destroy lives, destroy communities around the world. Thank you. So it is a value statement. Our budgets are value statements. We see our U.S. congressional delegation, we see the vast majority of our state elected officials prioritizing weapons of war, destroying people, harming people, rather than building homes.
Shame.
Rather than building healthcare systems, rather than improving our schools, rather than addressing climate. But I take hope in seeing this kind of an effort, the people coming together, lifting these issues up. And so that's what I see hope in. Hopefully we can look forward, continue to have more legislators signing on to these efforts, state of emergency, trying to actually have housing needs met in a very urgent, critical way, not just nibbling around the edges. Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is John Cellini. This is my first public speech, bear with me. I usually don't do this, but my friend Diamond passed away. So it made me want to do this. I usually don't do this, but fellow Rhode Islanders, tonight we have to assess the state of Rhode Island. I speak about a crisis hidden in plain sight, homelessness, a crisis demanding declare a state of public health emergency. We really do. But like seriously, 54 people froze to death. Like that's not public health. I don't know what is. At 7, I witnessed a traumatic event that shattered my world. Drugs became my escape, and numbing my pain. That path led to a darkness, mirroring the instability of so many people without a home. Trauma, mental health, addiction, these were my pathways to homelessness. Behind every statistic is a person, a life, a derailed, cost of living, lack of services, incarcerated, just exacerbate the crisis. We cannot stand by while our neighbors sleep on the streets and freeze. This is emergency demanding action. Increase affordable housing, expand mental health, addiction services, create trauma-informed programs. I stand here as proof that recovery, stability is possible. Let's create a Rhode Island where everyone has a safe place to call home, a state where we, like the inscription on the Statue of Liberty, cry out, give me your tired, your poor, your humbled masses, teeming to breathe free, their refuge, of your shore, of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, the tempest tossed to me. I lift the lamp beside the golden door. It's on the Statue of Liberty, guys. Give me the applause. I mean, come on.
So, I have one thing to add for everybody. We've been told that this can't be a state of emergency because we won't get federal funding for it. I say, who cares? Let's declare it anyway and make it known that it's a problem regardless if we get help from the federal government or not.
All right, y'all. I don't know if you all noticed, but there was a barricade here. We were meant to meet at the Rotunda. And they barricaded us out of our house. Which is illegal. But furthermore, it shows the immorality and their inability to hear the pain of the people and what they're going through and ignore it while they are the people that have the ability to change the situation now, today. In a week's time, we have a fascist taking control of this country, and the blue state saviors refuse to do anything to protect the people when they have the power to do it. So we're going to make sure they hear us. We have 3 champs.
Who wants to go for a walk? Me.
Yeah.
Everybody, we gotta go as a tight knit pack. We're gonna go up, over, and up.
Yeah.
What say ye, government? Art thou guided by covenant? Why dost thou profess such misnomers as health care? For thine so-called health care has no love in it. The people are done with it. Not just with some of it. Yes. This entire 2-party system and everything that's become of it. Oh, Roger Williams, you goddamn son of a bitch. Your lively experiment, what would you say today, given oh how they fumbled it? The people say enough of it. They're tired, downtrodden, beyond the margins, we're in the crevice, and without a fuck to give. Yes. This is suffering, not suffrage. Yes. Let's pack them up like luggages. Hold them to the fire like oven mitts. And expose this so-called experiment for what it is. It's an assault and an affront to the public. God said to David, a servant of God and the people, the enemy shall not outwit him, the wicked shall not humble him. It's not time for humility. It's time to start rumbling. Let them hear our voices and our movement from the Rotunda to Cumberland. Let them know it's time. We're coming for them. For the land stolen from the Narragansett and Wampanoag tribes, the kidnapped and enslaved Africans who labored and died, for the generations of immigrants on which this state and this city's renaissance was revived, to the unhoused populations without a place to reside. We must make our voices and this movement heard far and wide. It's not enough to complain. We must start a people's campaign. A truly collective and participatory effort to uproot this mockery disguised as a democracy. Inspired by the history of MLK and the Poor People's Campaign, we must reignite a movement that's built to sustain. A collective and participatory movement, a platform built to organize, fundraise, and mobilize. Think GoFundMe, localize, meet a doodle poll, politicize and socialize, so the people can choose our issues and our candidates collectively with open eyes. We can, we must, and the people we trust. We can, we must, and the people we trust. We can, we must, and the people we trust.